Hi, good evening, and welcome to the third lesson of British slang. Let's go to the first expression. So, the first expression today is bugger all. Bugger all simply means absolutely nothing, translated as nichts or null komma nichts. Some examples of this would be, it was a joke, they paid me bugger all for that work. So I got no money for that work, absolutely nothing, bugger all. He has been sitting at home doing bugger all the whole day. And number 3, England were meant to put up a good fight against Germany in the World Cup, but did bugger all. They did absolutely nothing. The next expression is to be buff. To be buff is an expression that's definitely used amongst young people in the UK. It's not something that the middle to older generation would know, but it's used commonly enough that it's worth knowing. It simply means to be nice looking and to be attractive. Some examples would be, have you seen how buff the new girl is? That basically simply means, have you seen how good looking she is? Which country has the buffest tennis players? And she couldn't be buffer if she tried. Let's move on. To bugger off. This is rude. Worth knowing because it's used a lot, but it's still rude, so don't use this one unless you think the situation is right to use this expression. Examples would be, why don't you just bugger off, mate? Number 2, I can't believe she told me to bugger off after all I've done for her. Number 3, if he had told me to bugger off, I would have told him the same. The next expression, to bunk off. To bunk off means to not go to something or to miss something, and it's normally used with school when talking about school, not going to school. Some examples would be, the parents will go mad when they find out that their children bunked off school today. Second would be, I hate chemistry, I'm going to bunk off and go home. Number 3, her friends bunked off, but she didn't want to risk it. So bunk off, as I said, normally associated with school. It just means not to go to something or to miss something. A chav. A chav, this is hard to explain. You may have already heard this expression. It's someone who dresses in a particular style, normally bad sports clothes. It's the UK stereotype of a young person who wears a Burberry hat and who wears sports clothes and maybe wears lots of golden jewellery and things like this. The best way for you to know what a chav is go on Google Images and type in chav, and you'll see on the photos exactly what a chav is. In any case, a few sentences to describe it. Mate, I wouldn't go near those chavs. Number 2, the cinema was full of chavs on Friday, so groups of people, a number of people who would be called chav. Number 3, I hate this city, it's full of chavs. Cheers. Cheers has 2 meanings in English. Some people get a bit confused by the word. It either means thanks or it means Prost. Cheers in terms of a drink. Some examples would be, cheers mate, I've been looking for that book for ages. So thanks mate, thanks for finding the book, I've been looking for it for ages. Number 2, would you like some more? Yes, cheers, yes, thank you. And number 3, cheers everyone, as in Prost, and you'd clink your glasses together. Cheers is slightly informal. You wouldn't use it in a formal situation like a business situation, but in almost all other situations, in shops, in cafes, in restaurants, I would use cheers, and many people use cheers. It's very common on the phone, and if you listen to an English man speaking, then you're very likely to hear him say cheers. To fork out. To fork out simply means to spend money. I would say it generally implies that you're spending quite a lot of money, but not necessarily. But, the best translation would just simply be to spend. It means to spend. Number 1 is, for an example, I always have to fork out on new shoes for him because he always breaks them. Number 2, they keep updating the iPhone, but who wants to fork out on a new one every time? Number 3, I'm sick of forking out on new clothes for her and not even getting a thank you. To be knackered. This just means to be very, very tired, to be absolutely exhausted, say after a long day at work. Some examples would be, this week has been crazy at work and now I'm absolutely knackered. Number 2, there's no point staying up all night and studying for the exam because you'll be knackered tomorrow. Number 3, don't speak to me, I'm knackered and I'm going to bed. To be lashed. To be lashed simply means to be very drunk, completely drunk in fact. Some examples of this. I saw him in the town centre and he was absolutely lashed. The English girls are known for going out and getting lashed at the weekend. University isn't just about getting lashed all the time, son. Lashed is definitely an expression that's used primarily amongst young people, although I'd definitely say it's widely understood. It's a cool expression, you know, you'll get some thumbs up if you use the word lashed. To be manky. This means to be dirty, filthy. To be manky is quite hard to explain. It's one of those words that can have a sort of a mixed meaning, but generally speaking it means it's dirty or it's not quite right or it's not nice. You don't want to go near it. Some examples. Number 1, the food is a bit manky here. Let's try somewhere else. Number 2, the sofa is a bit manky. Try and find another one. That means maybe, you know, the sofa, the material is broken or it's dirty or something like that. You know, not quite right. You'd call it manky. Number 3, that's one of the mankiest jackets I've ever seen. So maybe the jacket's old, it's a bit tatty, it's not quite right. So dirty, filthy, dreckig sein, manky. So that was all for today's lesson. As you could probably tell, I'm making the videos a little bit shorter. I'm trying not to drag on too long with the explanations, but if you prefer me to explain things in more depth or less depth or otherwise, then please just drop me a message or just comment under the video and I'll be sure to take note and reply. Okay, thanks, ciao.